A new historical novel gives voice to silenced Indigenous women from 4 centuries ago. Danielle Daniel joins us now from her home in Manitoulin Island with more on Daughters of the Deer. Nice to see you.
Hello, Annette. Thank you.
It's especially important to you that this book be released on this International Women's Day.
That's true. I wanted to give voice to my ancestors, both Marie and Jean, who, I would look for books to want to learn their perspective and their point of view from that time of colonization. I couldn't find it. And so I took it upon myself to actually write the book that I wanted to read. But it was quite a long and arduous process. It took 10 years. So today's a very special day.
Very good, very good. And I have to tell you, I was so angry reading this book, just at the way that Marie and Jean, especially her daughter, were treated.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. I think colonization, the patterns of violence against women can be traced, to the early days of colonization. And it's a story that definitely needs to be told. When I first learned about Jeanne, that's what really hooked my heart. And I knew I had to write this story because she did die a very violent death by the hands of settlers. And knowing that this was directly, through my bloodline, it's a story that wouldn't let me go, and I really felt an urgent need to tell it.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, we were talking yesterday, you said that a catalyst for her, you wanted to learn more about her because you knew that she, like all girls on settlements, if she were 17, under the king's order, the King of France, she would have to be married. And Jean was not. And there were several years, and her parents had to pay fines for that. And tell us why she wasn't married.
Well, I don't know for sure why she wasn't married, but the writer in me, that's where the imagination comes in. And, I think we write to fill the gaps in history, but I thought, why isn't she not married? And maybe, just maybe, she was two-spirited, and maybe her parents were protecting her. But the writer in me, this is where Jeanne, the character, brought me. And I think it's still a very relevant story today when it comes to missing and murdered Indigenous women and two-spirited people and the violence that they still endure today. So this is where the story brought me.
Mm-hmm. And so much of how two-spirited people were looked upon very differently from Indigenous people and from the settlers, especially members of the Catholic Church.
Definitely, because before the Jesuits arrived, they were seen as wise and having something extra to give to their tribe. They had enhanced abilities, but after the settlers arrived, all that changed. Obviously,
so much
we're
shame
still
there.
feeling the effects today.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought it especially telling because at the end of the book you go through and you list your real family members of this, and you say that the central carrier, the mother in this, Marie, on her real gravesite, it just doesn't have her name. It says a female savage died 1699. That's gut-wrenching.
It is. Yes, and that's why I felt such a need to tell their stories, because these are women that came before us who were here all the time. And yet we don't know them. And because history has been told either through the man's point of view or the settler point of view, we know the story of the brides of New France, but I wanted to know the story of these Indigenous women who were here at the early days of colonization and to learn what they experienced. And so I reimagined this world and through a lot of research, and today is the day that the book is finally released.
I'm so glad that you shared your story, because I know I've said I was angry reading it and hurt reading it, but it is such a beautiful story and so much that these women brought to their culture and our culture now, and we need to learn more about this. So Danielle Daniel, thank you very much for joining us. Daughters of the Deep is out now.
Thank you, Annette.